What? Oh, louder. I've lived in a lot of different places, but I think my move to Chicago was the most disorienting. Chicago, it's in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the Midwest just stretches for leagues in every direction, if you know what a league is. It's like living in the middle of a vast ocean of corn. And I thought, I'm used to being able to reach other cities, being able to drive. Well, I've lived in remote places, don't get me wrong. I lived in Provo, Utah for 2 years, but at least that's a short drive to Vegas. In Chicago, you're really just in Chicago. That's what you've got, and I didn't know anybody. I did have an old friend who said, when you get to Chicago, please call up my high school BFF. You and she will get along great. But I'm shy and lazy, so I didn't call, and I didn't call. One day, she nagged me on the phone enough that I said, okay, I'm hanging up on you, I'm calling this friend, Carolyn. Oh, was I supposed to change her name for this purpose of the story? I'm going to call Carolyn now. I think it was about 8 p.m. Carolyn wasn't one for small talk, so she said, let's go get some beers right now. And I said, okay, that sounds great. I liked her already. This is fantastic. She took me to a place called the Hop Leaf. If you're ever in Chicago, go to the Hop Leaf. Fantastic beers. I'm going to advertise it for a little bit here. Or where was I? So I meet up with Carolyn, and we have lovely beers for a couple of hours talking. I'm kind of falling for her. And I'm learning her whole life story, which is fantastic and not really appropriate for me, I suppose, because she's talking about how she hasn't really dated guys since high school. Since college, she's pretty much only dated women. But I'm determined. And perhaps I made an impression on her because she invited me home that night. I don't want to give you the wrong impression. She wanted me to meet her roommate. Her roommate, who is also her ex. And how on earth does that happen? How do you come to live with your ex? How did this happen? Carolyn met Jose a few years earlier, and they had chemistry, and it was brilliant and beautiful. So this is another guy that she had considered dating. And they did. And really a beautiful pairing, but she thought there was something wrong. She sensed, she had some kind of intuition, and eventually realized that they needed to have a talk. So they sat down, spent an entire weekend on it. By the end of it, they're hugging and drinking and crying and drinking and hugging again, and he accepts that he's gay and that they can't be together at the end of this long weekend. She's explaining all of this to me as we go back to her place, as I get to meet Jose. She also explains that that was the same weekend that she found out she was pregnant. Oh, yeah. And so I'm going over from the Hop Leaf, this really great bar, I don't know why I left it, going over to Carolyn's place where I'm going to meet her gay baby daddy, roommate, yes. Jose was wonderful, by the way. And what's going through my head at the time, of course, is I thought I knew what I was doing with my life. I understood what I wanted and where I was going, but here I am being drawn over to the right-hand lane and looking at the exit sign and thinking, who is this? Maybe it was Jose, actually. He made me the biggest drink I've ever had when I walked in the door and was so friendly and so wonderful. And then there was Ben. Ben, the 3-year-old child, so beautiful, so bright and energetic and running around. And what's my role going to be in this? I'm asking myself. I'm falling for Carolyn. I think she's got a little shine for me. And I'm picturing a new future. I'm picturing a whole different lifestyle. I'm way too young to have children and a girlfriend who's got a baby daddy living in the house. It wasn't actually until the first time the morning after the first night I spent over there that she told me, oh, by the way, we are married, she and Jose. So not only does she live with a gay baby daddy, but they're married. Was I an adulterer? No, this is a question for the crowd. I mean, he knew we were dating. He was comfortable with it, and you know, he was the best bartender and really great cook. Cooking was really more of a hobby for him because he was a flight attendant during the day, and he didn't know he was gay. It was several months of a beautiful relationship. I'll never forget. But at the time, it wasn't just one of those relationships I would tell people about down the line. At the time, it was a whole new life experience. I had a child and a girlfriend and her husband. Eventually it didn't work out. She did go on to date women exclusively after that. She's in a permanent relationship with a very nice girl right now, and we keep in touch from time to time. I just saw Ben last time I saw her. He's 9 now. Damn, that little 3-year-old is grown up. But I'm not on that path anymore. Although I do have a wife who is married to some guy. Oh, wait, that's me. Children might be on the way. It's strange that her best friend, who's a gay man, lives downstairs from us, but that's unrelated.